Certs won't get you hired. Certs won't get you hired. Certs will not get you hired. It's 2026 and people still believe they're going to break into DevOps or the IT industry as a whole using IT certifications. But oh boy, have things changed. People still think IT certifications are the Willy Wonka golden ticket for you to land your dream entry-level role that's going to pay you 6 figures. But that ship has definitely sailed. And it's not even the go-to way in order to upskill anymore, in order to develop in your existing role. A lot of people are following certification pathways, be it they are mid-level engineers in the field or they have no idea about the IT industry and they're just looking to break in. However, I'm going to break down why these things have changed. But by the way, I do have my top 3 secret certifications that have actually helped me land quite a few roles across my career. But before we get into that, let's take it back in time and see what has caused this shift in the industry. So initially when DevOps, the cloud space, was absolutely booming back in 2020, 2021, 2019, cloud certifications were the dream. You get your AWS Cloud Practitioner or you get your Azure Fundamentals, and that was more than enough of a buzz on your CV in order to start getting interviews for some high paying roles, be it 50, 60,000 pounds starting salaries plus. But there's been a big shift in the industry, especially since that COVID period. Yes, people were working remotely. Yes, there was rapid hiring during COVID and companies went on to regret that. But the whole hiring space as a whole has shifted, be it from the lens of a recruiter and a hiring manager. And I'm going to break down to you exactly what has changed. Number 1, recruiters now know that if they place you on a role, your certifications aren't an indicator that you're going to be great for the job. Recruiters have worked with people that have been certified in the past and placed people on roles. Number 2, hiring managers. Hiring managers might have hired people in the past that have many certifications. However, they don't have that hands-on exposure. Certifications are often too theory focused, especially the cloud ones, be it AWS, Azure, GCP. They're often rooted in the same steps. Multiple choice tests, cramming knowledge. This is often how people pass, and it's very theory focused and not as focused around making them pragmatic engineers. Well, at least the foundation and associate level certs. Yes, the expert certs can test your knowledge in a bit more depth and more scenario based and more system design focused. But as for those basic certifications, it doesn't mean that you could do the job. And there's been a big shift. Even companies, right? They might tell you, and a lot of people might feel like they've been cheated by their employer. Their employers often encourage them to do particular certifications. And I have a news flash for you. This is not necessarily in your best interest. Yes, whether it's that consultancy company that is trying to be AWS partnered or Microsoft partnered in order to look better to clients or sell you onto clients, or whether it's the wider market as a whole. This concept of certifications being that proof of your expertise is just no longer valid. And this is just due to the shift and just due to the reality and exposure. People are looking for projects you've built. They're gonna ask you actual production grade exposure to things that you've worked on. However, I'm gonna start giving away my top 3 secret certs and why they were actually so beneficial to me. And you might be surprised at the number 1 that I have to offer and the reason behind it. So, top 3, no particular order. Number 3, I'm gonna put the Certified Kubernetes Administrator certification. Now you're probably gonna be thinking, oh, it's great, Kubernetes is popular, that's why it's a certification that's in demand. That isn't true. The reason why that is a good, valued certification in the industry is because it's actually a hands-on cert. It is an exam that requires you to be live, showing your Linux skills, be it familiar with Kubernetes and certain concepts. You're actually having to deploy things, identify problems, and this is closer to a real-world scenario than those other cloud theory-focused multiple choice tests. So that's what gives it a lot of validity versus other certifications. Number 2, AWS Machine Learning Associate. Now, I actually did this about 1.5 years, but I never took the exam. When I say I did the certification, I actually just went through the relevant content. And you're probably thinking, why didn't you do the certification? The truth is there was no need. I was able to leverage that knowledge that I built to actually niche my expertise from a normal DevOps platform generic role into a MLOps role, where I'm specializing more in machine learning and also leverage that to build into a data platform role. This gave me exposure to the things that I actually needed in order to niche in my career. Now you have to remember, certs aren't just that Willy Wonka golden ticket. This was actually practical knowledge that I gained that I was able to talk about in interviews. Yes, I might not have had hands-on exposure as much, but I focused more on doing labs and building projects on things that I learned in the certification rather than investing that energy into just being able to pass a multiple choice test. And that is how you actually get a much higher ROI out of the cert rather than going for that shiny object syndrome of, oh, I'm certified and I have this certification. And finally, now this isn't necessarily specific to this certification, but it's actually something that I've seen a lot of value in, and I want to explain now. The Snowflake certification. Yes, you're probably thinking this is extremely random for a DevOps engineer, platform engineer. You know, I thought you were going to say the AWS solution architect professional, one of those. But there's actually so much leverage in niching down, especially in an incredibly competitive market. When things are incredibly competitive, niche talent is rare, especially for these MLOps roles, data platform roles. And what I noticed is once you get exposure to a tool like Snowflake and you are certified in it, that is huge leverage for contracting roles. That's something that I actually found so much benefit in. To this day, I regularly get hit up for recruiters for projects that require Snowflake, and you're back in that conveyor belt of contracting roles. And that separates yourself from others. Now, of course, having that production grade exposure that I had was also very important in one of my previous roles. However, that wasn't the be all and end all. So, if you are going to just choose certifications, don't choose a random certification pathway that is posted online that people are encouraging to do and setting that criteria as something that would make you a mid-level senior engineer. There's actually no certification that will get you a specific title or even a specific job. However, it can aid in your learning and development, and if you leverage it in the right way, using it to build real-world projects, then of course this can be really good talking points for interviews. And yes, that certification knowledge gives you that extra bit of depth in understanding how things might work under the hood, or the theory about it that you might not commonly get time to do in production grade environments. We all know what it feels like to be on the job. You have a task, you need enough knowledge to get this task done, and you need to Google exactly that level of depth. So sometimes going beyond and learning the theory, just in case you're being examined on certain things, or just going into that depth, is really advantageous in particular scenarios. So remember, certs will not get you hired in 2026, but if you use them correctly, you can leverage them to get that dream job throughout your career.